All right, we got everything working. You know, for those who tried to watch us a little bit earlier, you may have seen Troy Stradford was missing in action. The only complaint that I have, Troy, is do you have any headphones? Because now I'm hearing this echo through your computer.
You hear echo.
I hear me through your computer. So if you have some headphones, this would be a good time to use them.
I do have. Sit tight.
All right, hold on. I'm going to sit tight, and hopefully the video doesn't crap out or something after that. But you see it. Troy Stradford is here. I'm here. I'm Alex Donno. We are the extra yard. Donno and Troy, former Miami Dolphins running back. I do know if there's one thing that Troy can be pleased about, it's the continued good play of Devon Achane. It's like Achane, he and Andrew Van Ginkel, who was a terror on defense, right? Van Ginkel, the only good part about a really poor Dolphins defensive effort on Sunday against Buffalo. And I thought Devon Achane, excuse me, I want to say his name correctly. I'm still getting used to that. Achane, I'm still adapting to that one. Devon Achane was again over 100 yards, scored a couple touchdowns in the game. He is a player. Like he's someone who's saying, okay, we don't need Jonathan Taylor, a way a lot of Dolphins fans thought we did before the season started, myself included. Achane is doing great. It's all right. We'll roll with it, Troy. We will roll with it. How are you doing? Are you still down and out from that Dolphins
I am
loss?
having a bad week, and it started with the Dolphins on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it has not improved since Sunday. And I must apologize because I'm sitting here saying, Troy, you crossed the line, right? I've been in media a long time, covering the Dolphins, pregame, halftime, postgame, my own talk show, all of that stuff. And very rarely, if ever, Donno, did I cross the line. And when I say cross the line, I'm talking about crossing the line from being a former player and looking at things totally differently. Like, I don't know who the Dolphins play after they play the Giants. When you grow up being in the system, you go week to week. So whereas I'm still sitting here disappointed in the Miami Dolphins performance on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, I go back and say, Troy, you should have never crossed the line and sat there and said, oh, the Miami Dolphins are going to win this game. That's not what you do.
I know you did that.
You sit there, you point out the positives, the negatives, the advantages, and the game goes how the game goes. So we in the media, right, we sit here now. What is today? Today is Wednesday. We're still talking about the Buffalo Bills game. The Miami Dolphins haven't talked about that since they watched the film. If they watch it on Monday, I'm pretty sure they watch it on Monday. They haven't talked about the Buffalo Bills since. They will talk about the Buffalo Bills once they face them down the road. So I have to apologize because I became super fan and saying,
It's on you.
This team is dominant. There's no answer for it and all of that. And defensively, all the Buffalo Bills did was play like a cover two. You know, similar to what the Patriots did, but they played a cover two where they had a DB up on the wide receivers, but then they had help. And you even heard Tyreek Hill say, you know, there was no fear in the eyes of the DBs because they knew they had help over the top. And the Miami Dolphins, sorry to say it, they didn't make the adjustment to that. And I'm sure they will. So I like that the Miami Dolphins ran into this scenario, this problem right here, early in the season in week 4. So when they see it again, the adjustments will have already been made. So that this is a good thing in hindsight. Hopefully my week will get better. But this is a good thing to happen for the Miami Dolphins as opposed to like in a playoff game or late in the season and you don't have an answer for it. Because in the National Football League, when someone slows you down or stops you, you will see that the next week and the week after that and the week after that. So you could bet the Giants, as dismal as the Giants are looking right now, right? The Giants, they've had 2 home games. I think they scored 3 points. 3 points in the period of 2 home games. Like, the season ticket holders should like sue the Giants somehow and say, "Hey, this is all a fraud, and I want my money back," or something like that. But the Giants fans have to hang in there as well. So the New York Giants are going to sit there and scrutinize. They're going to tear apart what the Buffalo Bills did defensively against the Miami Dolphins, and they're going to try and copy that. So hopefully Coach McDaniel sat there, and him and his staff, they're sitting there saying, okay, if we see this again, how do we attack it? How do we adjust to it? Because I think it's simple. And I'll say this right now. With the defense that was played against the Miami Dolphins, where you win, because we used to play, when I played, and I hate saying that, but when I played, there was so much fear with Duper Clayton on the outside and Dan Marino, of course, throwing the football. And we would get that coverage that the Miami Dolphins just got from the Buffalo Bills, right? And so we would do our thing, but it left the middle of the field wide open for a matchup of a running back like myself coming out of the backfield who could catch the ball, get open against a linebacker. And a linebacker, I don't care what 2 teams you put together, is never going to win that matchup. So let's see how the Miami, I went on a long tangent there, but I would like to see how the Miami Dolphins adjust to the New York Giants, because you could bet that the New York Giants are going to show and play versus the Miami Dolphins the way the Buffalo Bills they don't have the same personnel.
Right.
So that's a big question. Can we play the way the Buffalo Bills play? But you could bet they're going to try and mirror, copy, and duplicate what the Buffalo Bills did against the Miami Dolphins last week.
Yeah, and I want to remind everyone that we are brought to you by Prize Picks, You Break Wheel Fix, BetterEdge.com. You can find the odds you want at BetterEdge.com, and it's fully legal, by the way, in Florida, because it's peer-to-peer. You're betting against other people. You're not betting against the house. You're not betting against the casino, so it's legal in Florida. BETTOR Edge.com. Use our code 5RSN, and they're going to give you a $20 gift of bonus money when you sign up. And so, Troy, here's the thing. We were talking about the Dolphins offense. What about the Dolphins defense? Because one of the frustrations I have coming out of this game, when you're paying your defensive coordinator $4.5 million per season, talking about Vic Fangio, I don't see a whole lot of adjustment. I'm a little bit puzzled as to why, and I think Xavier Howard was also puzzled as to why he wasn't given the assignment to shadow Stephon Diggs, who blew up for 3 touchdowns and over 120 receiving yards. Why that responsibility went to Kader Kohou for the entire game, who was clearly not equipped to stop Stephon Diggs at any point. What is Fangio thinking up there, Troy? Do we have to start to put the spotlight on our very expensive defensive coordinator?
Kohou just got a lesson in the National Football League, right? He got Stephon Diggs, one of the best wide receivers. He's on everyone's fantasy team, and all of us play fantasy and all of that. He is just a guy that gets open. I got to give credit to Josh Allen as well. Like, I was starting to look down on Josh Allen, saying, maybe not that good. Josh Allen is a damn good quarterback. And so you put that combination together, and for, Fangio to allow that young cornerback to get taken to school, play after play or drive after drive, it just, I don't think we've heard Xavier Howard's name mentioned throughout the broadcast, because very rarely did they test him. They went away from him. And so that's another learning experience. Again, I'm always trying to find the silver lining, right? And that was a bad thing. I was disappointed on Sunday. But moving forward, will the Miami Dolphins make the same mistakes? Absolutely not. They will not allow that to, I hope, to continue to happen, right? They're gonna switch up, give Xavier Howard some more work because it was almost like he didn't even play in the game. I didn't hear his name. And I just feel sorry for Kohu and the position that he was in because he was playing against one of the best wide receivers here in the National Football League, and especially one of the number one tandems of him and Josh Allen together. That's deadly. As the game started, Buffalo scored, Miami scored. Buffalo scored, Miami scored. I'm like, okay, we're in this game. We're matching what they're doing. They're showing them that we're here to play. And then things just started getting out of hand. So defensively, to answer your question, all the way around the corner, Miami Dolphins, they got to find some answers. And I don't know if it's strategic wise. They have to find some answers where they're not so isolated in situations where a team could take two players. Not like when we've been talking about the Miami Dolphins for the first 3 weeks, we're talking about all of these weapons, right? We're talking about this guy, that guy. And so I'm sitting there saying, it's the Buffalo Bills. It's primarily a two-man system of Diggs and Allen. How come you cannot design something to take that away? Like, that should not happen with the amount of talent and firepower that you have on offense for you to be dictated to by the Buffalo Bills. And don't get me wrong, I'm not putting down the Buffalo Bills. They are the elite of the AFC East. But you've been rolling and you just scored 70 points and you took your foot off the gas pedal. You should have performed a lot better than what you did on Sunday if you're the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins should have saved some points from that last game. Now, something, Troy, I wanted to ask you about, and don't be offended by the way that I just muted your mic, because I think that's how I can cure the echo problem. Is when I'm talking, I'm just gonna mute your mic. Believe me, I will give you plenty of time to respond, sir. Another thing that has been, it is an issue right now is offensive line depth and injuries, right? Because Liam Eichenberg clearly is not a center. I'm not sure if he's a left guard either, but he's definitely not a center. And with Connor Williams out, and Connor Williams had his snapping problems, but an excellent blocker from that position, Eichenberg struggled. Teron Armstead goes down injured in that game, and I think he's going to miss some time. They haven't made a decision yet whether to IR or not to IR, because I guess they don't know the severity just yet. But I'm imagining Armstead is going to miss a little time here. And so it's like, it's not the only reason why the Dolphins lost that game, believe me. But when your offensive line becomes a bunch of turnstiles and you can't protect your quarterback who relies on timing to make that offense work, you may be able to get away with this against the Giants and the Carolina Panthers of the world, but you can't get away with it, Troy, against a team like Buffalo.
You can't get away with it against a team like Buffalo, against a team like San Francisco, the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the elite. That's the level that you're trying to get on. So whenever you suffer an injury and then it starts to trickle down, there's a reason why you have first string players and you have backups. And trust me, there is a difference. And I can't sit here and say, from the first guy to the second guy at every position, it's, 5 points difference, or I don't know, 10 feet wide difference. But there is a difference. There is a reason why you are a backup. Plain and simple. Guys get drafted higher than other guys because of a reason. Now, just because you were drafted higher than another guy doesn't mean that you're better than him. Once you get to the National Football League and you make that adjustment and you become part of the team and you become first team, that is for a reason. But the Miami Dolphins now, you're looking at this team and you say, wow, the Buffalo Bills, they punched holes in us. All of a sudden, did they expose us? Are teams going to copy exactly what they did? And are we going to have trouble with that? I don't think that's the case. And here I go. I'm trying not to cross that line. I don't think that's the case with the Giants this week. But when you play a team that has things working a lot better than the Giants do right now, you're going to have your hands full. So it was a very quiet game for the Miami Dolphins. Unfortunately, they suffered, injury on the offensive line. Now they're going to have to shuffle a little bit. It's not as secure as it was a week ago. So all of a sudden, this is the National Football League, Donno, and it is week to week to week to week. You could be great one week. Denver won this week, did they not? The Denver Broncos won this week. They just got 70 points posted on their ass last week, but they came back and won. So where it was a miserable week for them in that city last week, they're feeling, I'm not going to say great about their team, but they're feeling better. Everyone goes to work with a better attitude, all of that. So I'm back to week. So the Miami Dolphins got to beat the Giants starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
All right, so I want to lean on your experience as a former NFL player, former Miami Dolphin. What was it like, A, in the locker room after a loss like that? And then B, what is the attitude like the following week in practice?
The locker room is quiet. You listen to the coach. The plane ride home is very quiet. There's no card games going on. Like when you win, no one's sitting down in the seat. Like I've been on planes with the Miami Dolphins where we take off or we're taking off and we land and no one's sitting in their seat. Like everyone's like having a little conversation here, a conversation there. You're playing cards here and there. But when you lose, it is just dead silence, and you talk to the person that is next to you. So it's funny how that whole arrangement works out on the plane, who sits next to who. That's not designed by the coaches. That's by relationships that you have with your teammates. And so you sit there with someone, you could bet that this plane ride home from the Miami Dolphins was a lot of headphones, a lot of sleeping. There was not a lot of conversation going on. So now you get to regroup. And just like after a win, the coach will sit there and say, okay, we get to celebrate this for 24 hours. After a loss, it's like, okay, you sit with this for 24 hours and then you get your butt ready to work because we're going to break it down. Yeah, we're going to watch the film, but after we watch this film, we're going to turn the page. We're not going to be like Alex Donno on the radio, on YouTube, like Joe Rose, any of these guys, any of us, Troy Stradford, any of us who's talking about the Bills game on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. We turn the page and we get prepared to play against the New York Giants. And that's what I used to love about being in it. I used to love the fact that this is like a system. Last week has nothing to do with this week. And whenever I have discussions with like friends and they go, oh yeah, but they did this, but I'm like, that doesn't matter. What matters coming this week and the preparation that you have to put in to win this week. Because when you think about it, back in the preseason, we put importance on certain things. Do we talk about that now? No. First couple of games, 3 games of the season, we put importance on some of the things that the Miami Dolphins did. Now they just got smoked. We talking about that now? No. You have to turn the page and you have to get prepared to win. So I like, as much as I didn't think it would happen, and I thought the Miami Dolphins would win, I look forward to seeing how the Miami Dolphins now bounce back from a loss, because I believe everyone on that Miami Dolphins team was sitting there feeling themselves. They were like, okay, we're good, right? We're good. We can play with anyone. And the Buffalo Bills smacked them in the face and said, you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. So I like the reset. I really like the reset. Now, I can't wait to see what happened against the Giants.
I can't either. And I want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube, smash that like button, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's been amazing content already this week. My guy Ethan Skolnick has been crazy and fired up with all the Miami Heat stuff and Heat Media Day earlier this week. And wow, make sure, guys, by the way, you subscribe to the audio feed of 3 yards per carry. Alf, Simon, and Chris are nice enough to share their audio feed with us. The extra yard is an extra episode of 3 yards per carry. So make sure you subscribe there, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you support our great sponsors like Prize Picks. Use our code 5. That's FIVE. And they're going to give you, they're going to match your first deposit up to $100. You deposit $100, they give you $100 on top of that, absolutely free. I already talked about betteredge.com. And guys, if you have wheel repair or refinishing needs on your vehicle, make sure you talk to Mark and his techs at U Brake Wheel Fix. For Troy Stradford, I am Alex Donno. We'll talk to you guys next time on another episode of The Extra Yard on the awesome 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.